Hello, guys. It's Miss Bland, and it's Happy Tuesday, October the 13th, 2020. I just wanted to jump on just to kind of go over what today looked like. I know my video is a little late, so some of you may have already done the work. So I'll just make sure we're all on the same page. This week, we have 12 new Letterland words that are on the front cover of your red packet. We're dealing with the k sound coming from the CK and the ch sound coming from TCH. And they do make two very distinct sounds that we hear in our 12 words for this week. We also have 8 new vocabulary words that we'll see in our story today. One change that Ms. Bland announced to the class this morning with the transition for next week, we decided to just stick with The Boy Who Cried Wolf this week, and Wolf Wolf will be your story for next week, whether you are, if you're at school, and then those that are virtual, you'll have something different. And then the virtual academy kids, I'm not sure how that's going to work for you guys. So your teacher, when she contacts you, I know you guys are going to do it, but I'm not sure which week. So hang tight for that information. But for those of you that are returning, it is in our big reading book. So you will do it the week that you're at school so that you'll actually have a book. We decided that was just a better offer. It's a long story and it just needs a book. So we went back today and finished up the study guide we had from yesterday because my internet yesterday would not let my Zoom open anything and Zoom wouldn't work and this plan was just So I said we would skip it. So what we did was we took our vocabulary words, we found them in our story. We wrote what pages we found them on. We talked about that a fable is made up of a story that teaches us a lesson that is going to have a plot, which gives us a beginning, a middle, and an end. We then went through and did our questions for each of our stories. We talked about on page 118 about the boy and how he felt. The second paragraph asks you to tell about what the shepherd boy was doing. And then at the bottom, we talked about cause and effect. If you'll work on the study guide front and back, then you can come back on and check your answers. Pause here to do so or complete on the end. This is the front. Feel free to check your answers with the front. This is the back. On the back, you do not have to do questions 122 and the bottom. Check your answers for there. The independent work from yesterday included this page. You had 1 through 5 to complete yesterday. Make sure it is complete inside of your packet. This was the beginning, middle, and end activity that was also part of yesterday's work. Make sure that it is completed inside of your packet. Your sprint from yesterday, you had 2 minutes to do as many as you can. Make sure that is completed as part of yesterday's work. Today, you have a question page that has 5 questions about our story. And you also have a question that talks about the lesson or the moral of our story. And then even at the bottom, it tells you to tell me 4 things you like to do when you're bored. Think of some things you could do. Then you're going to take a 2-minute sprint for today. Today's 2-minute sprint involves writing numbers. So instead of writing the answer, you're going to write the word for those numbers. We go from 1 to 20, and then we go from 10 to 100 by tens. So set a timer for 2 minutes and do as many as you can. Pause here to complete or complete on the end. Your independent work for math today is a great review of place value. You're able to go in and match the number to the correct number. For the second part of our place value review, this time all of our answers will concentrate on these 3 numbers. So be careful and match quickly. Today we practiced doing our numbers 3 ways again, but we put a little spin on it. We wanted to be able to show our expanded form in more than one way. So we did one additional way where we combined our tens and ones. That gave us 58 instead of 50 plus 8. And then for the second one, we took a 10 away and added it to the ones. So that made the 10 coming out of 50 made it 40, and 10 plus 8 was 18. These are our 2 example notes that we put inside of our notebooks. Please pause here to put them in your notebooks as well. Great. I hope you wrote those down and you're able to practice 2 additional ways to show me expanded form. These are the 3 numbers that we're doing for independent practice: 264, 438, and 823. Those are your numbers for today. In Seesaw, you have ABC order that needs to be completed, and you also have a plural and singular activity as well as a math review. So there's plenty of work to be done. We talked this morning with Miss Vester's lesson about controlling our emotions, being able to talk about how we feel. We even read a really cool book called My Mouth is a Volcano about a little boy who struggled with being able to keep his words together. I'll show you that on the end. But Ms. Bland thinks that that's all you need for today. If they're missing something or something you need to know, please have mom and dad reach out to me and we'll be sure to make sure you're caught up. So all of your packet work for Monday and Tuesday should be caught up at the end of this. You should have 3 questions that go inside your notebook and you have 3 seesaw activities. Make sure you take your time to get those done. So My Mouth is a Volcano is how we'll close out our video. And it's a really cool book about learning how to control what comes out of your mouth and when you say it. Because sometimes we all mess up, but we can learn a very valuable lesson, just like Lewis does in this story. Come and read the book with me.
My Mouth is a Volcano, written by Julia Cook, illustrated by Carrie Hartman. My name is Lewis. People say I erupt a lot. I don't think I do. I have a lot to say, and all of my words are very important to me. When other people talk, words just pop into my head. Then they slide down onto my tongue. My tummy starts to rumble, and then it starts to grumble. My words begin to wiggle, and then they do the jiggle. My tongue pushes all of my important words up against my teeth. And then... Hey, guess what, you guys? I erupt. Words just explode out of my mouth. My mouth is a volcano. In class, my teacher says that when we want to say something, we're supposed to look at her, raise our hand, and wait until she calls on us. I tried that. After I waited patiently for what seemed like 62 years, my important words slid down from my head onto my tongue. My tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble. My words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle. My tongue pushed all of my important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. Teacher, I think we should have recess all day. I'm hungry, too. Can we go to lunch now? My teacher was less than pleased. She erupted me right back. I know what you are saying is very important to you, Lewis, but since it is not an emergency, you will have to wait until I call on you. It was my volcano's fault. At daycare, we were sitting on the rug listening to Miss Polly read us a story about planting trees. All of a sudden, I thought about the time my grandpa and I planted 6 trees in his front yard. My important words slid down from my head onto my tongue. My tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble. My words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle. My tongue pushed all of my important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. Hey guys, once I planted zillions of trees with my grandpa, and I got a timeout. It was my volcano's fault. During dinner, Mom and Dad were talking about paying the bills. Then I thought about my friend Bill. Bill can blow a bubble inside of a bubble when he chews 2 pieces of bubble gum. Now that is really important. My important words about Bill slid down from my head onto my tongue. My tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble. My words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle. My tongue pushed all of my very important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. Hey, Mom, Bill can blow a bubble in a bubble with his gum. Lewis, my mom said, you interrupted again. If someone else is talking and you don't have an emergency, you have to wait for your turn. But Mom, my words, they slide down from my head onto my tongue. Then my tummy starts to rumble. Lewis, you did it again. I got sent to my room. She said I was rude. It was my volcano's fault. The next day at school was my very important day. I had been waiting for about 126 weeks to be the student star of my class. This was my special moment. I got to share a poster with my class that had pictures of all my favorite things. I stood up in front of my class and began to tell them about the time I went fishing. Halfway through my story, Richard started to tell everyone about when he went deep-sea fishing in Mexico. His story must have been better than mine because everyone started to look at him. He was stealing my important words. Richard, said my teacher, you just interrupted Louis. Please wait until he has finished talking, and then he might call on you. I couldn't believe how rude that was of Richard. He erupted me. That really made me angry. After talking about my fishing trip, I started to explain the x-ray of my broken arm. Just as I was getting to the good part, Courtney started to tell the class about when she broke her leg. Courtney, said my teacher, you just interrupted Louis. Please wait until he has finished talking, and then he might call on you. I couldn't believe how rude that was of Courtney. She started talking right during my 15 minutes of fame. She ruined my important words. She almost stole my moment. When I got home, I told my mom about rude Richard and rude Courtney. Now you know how we feel when you interrupt us, said my mom. I never thought about that. I just get so excited and my words, they just pop into my head. Then they slide down onto my tongue. My tummy starts to rumble and then it starts to grumble. My words begin to wiggle and then they do the jiggle. And then my tongue pushes all of my important words up against my teeth and I erupt. Words just explode out of my mouth. My mouth is a volcano. Maybe Richard and Courtney have volcanoes in their mouths too, my mom replied. I never thought about that. Well, son, the next time your important words are pushed into your teeth by your tongue, bite down hard and don't let them out. Then take a deep breath and push your words out through your nose. Then, when it is your turn to talk, take a deep breath and breathe them back into your mouth. Will that work? I asked. Only if you make it work, said my mom. That night at the dinner table, my sister Sylvia was in the middle of one of her long girl stories when my important words began to slide down from my head and my volcano started to do its thing. Just as my tongue started to push my words out through my teeth, I bit down really hard. Then I breathed my words out through my nose. As soon as my sister finished talking, I took a deep breath and back in went the words. I was amazed that they had just hung around outside my mouth and didn't float away. Then I told my story, and nobody got mad at me for erupting. After that, I never erupted again. Well, except for the time Bill's bubblegum got stuck in my hair. But that was a real emergency.
All right, so sometimes we have to watch our words. Maybe we should breathe them in, blow them out of our nose, and get ready. As some of us get ready to return to class and some of us transition to virtual academy, we're going to have new friends and new classes and new teachers. And some of us are going to be in different situations. So we've always got to remember, don't be the volcano. Wait and listen and see what happens. So guess what, guys? That's all for today. If you need something, let Miss Blaine know. Have a great afternoon. Get your work done, check out your seesaw things, and finish your notebook assignments. Have a great afternoon.